we can go ahead and get started. So, Sabrina, I'll let you decide that if we're ready to kick it off, or if we wait for some other attendees to join.
I think we can go ahead and get started, Tim.
Okay. Well, everybody, thank you for joining this session. Today's topic is going to be an engaging one, meaning be more of a roundtable discussion. Think of it like having a cup of coffee, albeit virtually. We did a session yesterday and have a lot of good feedback I'll provide and share from that session. So today's topic is going to be about the future of the modern digital mortgage. What does it look like? Let us see everyone's vision and take on what it is and what it isn't. Okay, and also the 5 technology changes or procedure changes or people changes or regulatory changes that needs to happen in order to deliver upon this experience. With that said, Cheryl, I'll go ahead and start with you. What does the future of digital mortgage look like to you, and what are the changes needed for us to get there? Oh, looks like we lost Cheryl there. Let's see. Well, Chris, we'll go ahead and kick it off with you then. What are your thoughts on what the future looks like and the things that need to happen, the innovations that need to happen in order to get there?
Where do I start? For us, the struggle is a lot of it has been with on the closing end has with the things that are out of our control. So the different investors, the different counties, the different states that we have to deal with are just, to be able to get all of that aligned to do anything digital is just sort of frustrating us, because again, it's a lot of it's out of our control. So we just have to try and do the best we can. Been doing a lot of that with the hybrid systems that we're trying to put into place and ramp those up pretty quickly, obviously, like a lot of people did this spring.
Yeah, that's a great place to start. So you see the future of mortgages with, in terms of e-close. I have a question for you. How much do you see it's going to be hybrid versus true RON? Do you see, how long do you see the transition phase? What does it take for us to go from a hybrid model to a true RON model?
I wish I knew, Tim. I'd probably be making a lot more money. It's been such a long wait for me. I've been in this business a long, long time, and I feel like I've been hearing this same, topic since honestly 20 years ago. And we just are at such a slow pace getting there. Maybe there'll be some more movement or quicker movement with this necessity, as the phrase goes, necessity is the mother of invention, right? So maybe this will kind of kick off the pace a little faster. But yeah, I'm not super optimistic, unfortunately, that it's going to happen as quickly as we'd like.
Gotcha. Yeah, that, interestingly, e-close barely got brought up yesterday, but I think the points you bring up make a lot of sense. Leslie, welcome to the session. You may be able to hear us. We won't be able to hear you until your red live button is lit up. So you could join us. Love to add you to the conversation. Yeah, one topic that came up yesterday was collaboration and communication. Really about, okay, so, the more we work from home, the more things go digital, people are seeing the more need for human contact, whether it's webcams, whether it's, chatting, but just better communication across all technology platforms so that we make it better for the consumer, easier for the loan officer to communicate also internally with their constituents and even their third-party vendors as well. So that's one thing that we kind of brought up, that the future of the modern digital mortgage, albeit digital, will be a lot of remote type communication and collaboration needs. And one of the examples we brought up there was at BeSmartee, for example, for next year, we're working on better internal collaboration tools. the ability for a loan officer, rather than picking up the phone or chatting with somebody, say, hey, ping someone that pulls up the loan file, pings the processor, pulls up the loan file, brings up the data points in question so they can do a chat or do a voice or even do a webcam session talking about a very specific file where all the data is linked at the loan level, so it's not disparate sitting in different systems. Chris, hey, what do you think about that as a value add from the session we did yesterday?
Yeah, I think that is going to be something that I've always had conversations around, where you've got the LOSs that do, you know, all the heavy lifting for the manufacturing alone, and then you have all of the integrations in the various areas, documents, you know, pricing, POS, whatever that is, and the idea that someday, you know, a better convergence might happen, because the more you're in one system, obviously it's just so much better to not be, you know, missing those little things that may not work with an API or an integration, that you have to, you know, let's say you can complete 10 tasks inside your integrated partner, but you have to jump back to the LOS for the, you know, the final 2 or 3. It's things like that that I think as we get more and more of those, obviously the efficiency, you know, gains are massive.
You bring up an interesting point there. Do you see the future of digital mortgages as the loan officer working inside the POS more than they are in the LOS?
You know, we've actually been looking at that a little bit in some of the systems that we're looking at for a possible POS integration. Is a plus if the LO can maybe do a lot more inside the POS, or you know, one of those systems where they don't have to, especially if it's mobile, where they don't have to stop and jump back into the LOS, which in our case it's difficult to access mobile right now. Yeah, I think that's a great you know, asset if it can be done.
Yeah, to have that conversation, we had Yao Chu from HSBC on yesterday's session. He made an interesting point that they try to put all their client-facing employees as close to the consumer as possible, almost on the same platform that the consumers interact with, in order to reduce the risk and gaps by, you know, legacy systems and new systems and disparate system integrations. So I kind of see that resonate with what you brought up as well. Jessica, I know you organized the you know, the event, but if you'd like to jump in, love to get you into the conversation as well. Christine and Baj, welcome to the session. If you guys would like to participate, please just light up your little live button red, and love to pull you into the conversation. All right. Okay. Well, Chris, sounds like it's just going to be you and I talking, shooting the breeze there.
Sounds good.
It worked for me. Let's see. Yeah, you know, it's interesting. We did talk about the POS and LOS. You know, there was a thought that was brought up yesterday. Do you ever see that becoming one system, or even should it be one system?
You know, that's the, you know, it's a joke that I mention sometimes to the vendors, but it's not. You know, there a lot of these POSs I see doing, gosh, what, 70-75% of what the LOS is doing. You know, what is preventing, you know, them from just saying, hey, we can do it all end to end? What, you know, especially if it's integrations that are needed. You know, you could certainly integrate with BeSmartee just as well as you can with Lending QB, for example.
Right. That makes a lot of sense. Leslie, welcome.
Hello. Sorry about that. I was listening on my other device, and I hadn't realized I don't have a microphone on this other one I'm using, so I took the whole time getting my MacBook up here.
Well, welcome to the conversation. So today's topic, in case you missed it, is the future digital mortgage. What does it look like, and what are the innovations whether it's technology, regulation, process changes, right, that need to happen in order for us to get there. Love to take your perspective on it, especially coming from the MI's side of the world. Obviously, a very major contributor to a closing of a loan.
Well, as you know, I'm looking for any opportunities here for us to get MI advocacy out there, and the further up the chain we can get MI, the better, to give borrowers their full picture on what they're committing to and what their options are. So, I'm hitting heavy on the API space for the MI vertical in the industry. And it's just such a small part, but I was really interested to hear all these other things that are going on, and MI is just a small piece of what's going on. So, we like all the innovation. I will say that, it is combated with, legalities of what's allowed where, and that can be very challenging at times. So, trying to work through all of that together, and understanding what's feasible, and just pushing it forward. That'd be great.
Yeah, so thank you for sharing those thoughts. Yeah. We talked about so from yesterday's session, there was a big conversation. We spent about half the time talking about collaboration online. In a more digital world, we need to be able to communicate better, and so it's, you would think it's counterintuitive, but it makes so much sense.
Yeah.
The more I can talk to someone in person, the more I need to be able to communicate with them better online.
I know at MGIC we've toyed with the concept. A lot of times the underwriter, it has to reach out to the borrower and get information, and putting chat online instead of doing the phone calls and things like that. But that also requires that you can man the chat rooms, so it could be a little bit overwhelming. But I wish there was a way to kind of scale that process, or maybe some more AI on the front end of a chat, so that when you really needed to get down into talking with someone specifically about something that might not be registered as automated responses or things like that, then the human can get on the chat. I think some people like to chat online versus picking up that phone or sitting on hold. So that would be kind of an interesting ability there.
Yeah, that does seem to become the norm. I finally used Amazon's chat system for some customer support recently, and it is phenomenal. You're right in your app, just click chat, and where you are getting your problem resolved. You don't have to be on the phone. You can disappear for 5 minutes, come back, and still have that person engage and help you through it. You also bring up an interesting topic here is, consumers have to talk to the MI company, they have to talk to the HOI company, they have to talk to the lender, they have to talk to the appraiser, sometimes they have to talk to the closing agent and so forth, the processors and whatnot. And really using a good point of sale, not to just communicate between lender and consumer, but to bring in the other value, the stakeholders in the value chain. It wasn't brought up yesterday, but that makes a lot of sense. I think it's a really good takeaway. The other thing we brought up here is yesterday and today was the data integrations between disparate systems.
Yeah.
Chris, flipping back to you, Chris kind of took a lead on that conversation, but let me kind of flip the conversation a little bit as we wind down to the end here. Is what does the future of digital mortgage not look like?
Oh boy. Gosh, it does not look like probably what it looks like for a lot of us today. It needs to be more streamlined, less systems talking to each other, and again, the actual ability to close, to have a true e-closing.
Awesome. Leslie, what about you?
One of and I had this idea I wanted to bring up on this call, and then I botched it by not having a microphone, but I just this brainstorm came up. I just was thinking about how when you go online today and you're trying to put a vacation package together, you go out there and you're like, show me some Hawaii vacation packages. And if you just look at that process and how it brings all the options to the table, and you could kind of envision something where it's giving you tours of different things, video tours. And if you kind of applied that to the home buying process, video footage of the shopping in the area, or the schools in the area, or the parks, or, what the location is like, or also, things like, filling your cart with, the appraisal and the credit report, kind of making it more like that, very robust, I want a flight, I want a car, I want, the hotel, and kind of bundling it all together, and, having them put their package together. This vision is coming up in my mind that way, of making that more of a shopping experience, and like a vacation tour, a lot more video, coverage of, get them a feel for it, so they don't necessarily have to drive there and see it themselves, kind of let them do that from home. And I know, it's a lot, there already on, sites where you're shopping for the home, lots of pictures and things, but it's the area also,
It's a great point.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think there's this company called Great Neighborhoods, I think it is. They provide a rating system.
Okay.
Reviews with the best restaurants, the best movers in the area, even where to connect your who's the Wi-Fi and water and power provider in that area. That's a big vision.
That stuff doesn't happen until after you move, and it just is. It would be great to just bundle it all.
Yeah, that's what I call a BHAG. Big, hairy, audacious goal to take all these. From the online shopping experience to the vendors in the community to the lender, and bringing that all to the table, and including on the back end vendors, home inspection, pest termite movers, those type of things. One thing that came up yesterday, I'll bring it up here, is when we asked that question was, someone brought it up. They said it's not Amazon one-click. That is not the future of digital mortgage. What do you guys think about that? Is that right? Is it wrong?
I can see a fast-track path for, certain types of loans, that hit all the green lights with automation checks, So I don't want to say that that's impossible, but I do think that there's so many scenarios that you'd get stopped at a red light, and require some touch points that it wouldn't be a reality for all scenarios.
Chris, what do you think? Is that not the future of digital mortgages?
Yeah, I think to try and compare it to that one-click, buying something is almost dangerous or unrealistic. But the interface that I like out there in the world a lot is the Domino's Pizza ordering platform. It is so well done. To choose, like Leslie was saying, to put the things in your shopping cart and go, and then the tracking that it does to let you know when it's going to get there. I could see that being a better, analogous more to mortgage than one click. If you're a really private bank customer buying a home through your bank, maybe you can do that. But I see it more like the Domino's, that really great experience, but it takes care of everything for you and you get it, on time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, when I think of Domino's app, I love that app, by the way. That's a great example. One of the best apps I've seen out there from an e-commerce perspective. My first experience using it, I remember they said, such and such person is at your door, and like literally within seconds later, here.
Yeah, they've got it pretty down.
Putting your pizza and putting your toppings on right now. I thought it was phenomenal. But it kind of leads to transparency, right? Not just transparency to pricing and product and eligibility and timelines, but into the actual activities that happen, so that and have certainty that people are doing their job, things are moving forward, and you're not being left behind. Maybe we'll end with this question here. How do we get to that level of transparency? How do you deliver it? What integrations are needed? What's not needed?
Well, I can say that, there are a lot of places, a lot of verticals that need to have a little more open API mindset. More published, available. When you search on, you're a developer from across the world and you want to search on, I'd like to get an appraisal, kit, or, how do I develop this? Things should be a little more open and accessible that way. I know that I work with the MISMO organization, and that is one of the goals of our JSON community of practice, is, to have, maybe a library out there that, helps to put standards out there, but then make them available. And connectivity is the key here, and open transparency integrations. So.
Yeah, and kind of the last mile type problem, the same with internet is, the small banks, the small employers, getting that data into the systems as well to make those transactions run quicker, figuring out how to do that easier, and providing that almost as a service to them, as a benefit to their employees and their small banks is something that too needs to, there's a lot of gaps there as well.
Yeah.
It reminds me of something that we're starting to think about is, customer for life strategy. People will do a mortgage, what I think the most recent stats, once every 5 or 7 years, I think it was, I forget now, probably more recent lately, of course. And, client retention is always easier. But how does the digital mortgage embed itself into a customer for life strategy? How do we get that customer to be in front of your brand and come back to you time and time again? Why would they want to come back, right? How does that play in the digital mortgage evolution?
I'll say that, my job at MGIC is to look for innovation and vendors that we can work with. And I've come across a couple, just even in this past year, that, are trying to get more of a footprint on the, device of a consumer. So it's not just that origination, getting, to the point where you're in your new house, and the collaboration communication that has to go on that way. But to have, it's starting, like the thoughts are starting to be out there of, and then if this, app that's on their device is also going to tell them, hey, it's time to refi. Hey, you can, helping with the whole servicing side of that loan, and pointing out, other things that they might know. Hey, you have college kids, time to refi, or, fund their college, or, hey, all your kids are gone, maybe you should move, or whatever it is. But just kind of having something a little more permanent with those consumers and all the data that you have access to because you've originated their loan.
Chris, from a lender's perspective, where does your mind sit on this topic?
Yeah, for us, it's the good old-fashioned CRM and staying in touch with a customer. A lot of that value-added stuff is great and good data to get, especially with kids and pets and schools, things like that. But the good old-fashioned legwork of making sure you reach out and say hello. Every few months, just to stay in touch, to make sure that you're top of mind once, they're interested in refinancing, or, you're obviously with refinancing, you're presenting them the opportunity, but if they look at moving, you're in front of them when they make that decision and you get that deal.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I wish so many more service providers would do that. I mean, something as simple as plumbing issues I had recently. Couldn't remember that great vendor I used. That just, I wanted to use them again. I had to search for someone new. Mm-hmm. I wish I was on that email list. I wish he reached out every now and then. Wish there was a tidbit to help me remember, who helped me last time, who did a great job for me. So digital mortgage, really good stuff that came out here, guys. We started off talking about e-closing, definitely one of the hottest topics in the industry today. We talked about collaboration, communication, more communication in the day of digital. We talked about transparency. We talked about the POS and LOS, and just, disparate data systems and data sources out in the marketplace. sounds like we all got a lot of work to do.
Yeah, we're gonna be busy.
All right, guys. Well, with that said, I think we're at our time.
Mhm.
Chris, sir, thank you for joining us, and good to hear your voice once again, and Leslie as well. I almost felt like I'm at a conference with meeting old friends there.
Yeah, I know. Good to see you.
Thanks, Tim.
All
Bye-bye.
right. Talk soon. Bye.
Bye, Leslie. Sabrina, if you can hear us, we've concluded, and I think we're going to go ahead and log off here.
Sounds great, Tim. Thank you.
All righty. Thank you all.